Hi, welcome to Garage Clips for Matwork. We're going to talk a little bit about that lovely thing called triplanar motion and bringing a little bit of that flexion, rotation, side bending, tweaking those little planes into your movement patterns of the Matwork exercises. So I know if you've attended personal training, you've heard of it. If you've attended some of our trainings, you probably talked a little bit about how to tweak some of the exercises in multiple planes. But what I'm going to do is reference it exactly to Matwork. And let's just look at the beginning of the exercise, beginning of the repertoire for that matter. We have lovely Nicole here. She's going to first start off with the roll-up. Note that we're in incline level 3, and she's coming up and down. Okay, she looks really great in this. She's rolling back and forth. She's sticking very much in that sagittal plane. Now there's something called coupling. That means there's a side bending rotation. It becomes really important in the thoracic spine, an area that's not given enough attention to, and an area that usually is quite weak, quite tight, and probably the culprit of a lot of neck and back pain. So what do we do to tap into that thoracic area and add in more planes? We add arm movements in. So for Nicole, I'm going to have her reach down to the outside of her right foot, and she's going to reach to the outside of her right foot as she comes up. And then she's slowly going to come back. And maybe she even reaches a little bit out to the side as she comes up. So you can start to tweak how much of a side bend she wants as she comes up. Now note, all of a sudden, it becomes a little bit different of a rolling up. There becomes a sticking point that might have changed when she was typically doing her straight sagittal movement. So continue to remember that incline, nowhere, you can hit me, incline level, you might need to bring it up because now all of a sudden you're tweaking muscles that maybe haven't really worked in a long time or are unfamiliar with working in this way, and you want to give them the appropriate resistance. Okay, how about if we want to do a side bending rotation in opposite directions? So I'm going to have you bring your right arm up, and as you come up, you're going to come over and you're going to reach the outside of that right foot, but you're going to come over on the left side, and then you're going to come back. And then the other way. So take this movement, and this goes straight back to a straight roll-up. There you go. What I noticed with Nicole, she did fantastic. Straight roll-up she has. That type 2 movement where you're side bending and rotating same plane, a little bit more challenging. Type 1, a little bit easier for her. So work with her strength, work with that type 1 instead of going through those type 1s and type 2s. Just think about rotating and side bending in the same direction is more challenging. So take that, add that in, but also build on the strength of type where she has that side bending rotating the opposite ways. Does that make sense to y'all? I hope so. So let's kind of look at another exercise to bring this home yet again. So now we have spine stretch forward. She's sitting tall and her arms are out straight. Let's start here, and she's just going to slowly come forward. Now again, we've talked about in the past, you can have the low back, where she's actually flexing from the top of her head down through her thoracic all the way down to her low back. Or we can have it where she comes back up and she slowly just focuses on her upper back, and maybe I might kind of feel like you almost push through your heels, and there she goes with her low back. And then slowly come back up. We all love that low back stretch. So let's keep that back straight, push through your heels, flex your feet, almost send the glide board up the rails, and just round for that upper back. There you go. And have that energy of pushing that glide board back. It's really hard, and then slowly come up. So let's go with her success. That's the most important. She likes kind of going into that posterior tilt. She likes getting that full spinal stretch. So we're in that sagittal plane again. She's gonna come down. But now she adds that, again, rotating towards maybe her left side or her right side, and the other hand's gonna go up overhead. There she goes. And then you come back. And then we go to the other side. So we rotate and side bend opposite side. Perfect. Now how do we do the same side? That's a little bit more of a tweak. As she comes forward, she's going to reach down and then slowly also come down. So she side bends and then still kind of, and instead her gaze you might have to cue, because that's important, might need to go to the right. So I'm going to have you go to the right side.
Okay.
It's hard. And now rotate. So you're going to come up and over. Yep. She's rotating to the left, and now she's going to side bend to the right. So how do we tweak this? Maybe we come back up. We'll go this way. Side bend to the right. rotate to the right, reach this arm down to the ground.
Oh.
And, what does that look like? Almost looks like the saw. So come back up. And that's just another little bit of a tweak. So you can kind of flow into one to the next. Let's say if she's doing that again, kind of go into that saw movement for me. Okay, so we all know this. What can we do with the saw? Well, you can add the body coming over. That's one way, so you add that side bend. The other thing that I like to do is, let's say people like to either round or stay extended. Everyone's kind of learned a different technique, and ours isn't to tell you one way or the other. But what I can do is say, I want Nicole to really round, really, really round. And then I want you to extend out. Lift that chest out and overhead. Now round. Now extend out. And each time I'm kind of pushing her just a little bit more. And this time, what am I going to do? I'm going to maybe rotate this way and back. So you just start to play around. If you're doing one-on-one, it's a lot easier. But also work with someone. If someone's kind of in that in-between state and they can't get fully straight and they can't round all the way, then go more into that flexion and then have them go into that extension and work with that strength that they have. So hopefully these little tri-planar movement exercise into Matwork will help you start to tweak exercises. And the exercises that you're already doing, you might just think about them in a little bit a different way. Like the saw, you've been doing it. You might be adding that three-planar movement in. But think about, what else can I do to tweak it to the next level? So thanks for tuning back in.